welcome back to SFGMC TV. My name's Mitch Galli, and I am the Associate Artistic Director and Director of Educational Outreach for the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. And today we are joined with John Alecca, the Executive Director for Young Audiences of Northern California. Thanks so much for joining us, John.
Wonderful. Thank you for inviting me.
So, can you give us a little backstory about your journey in the arts and stepping into your role as Executive Director for Young Audiences of Northern California?
Sure. It feels full circle to me. This part of my career is a perfect ending to a wonderful, not an ending, but a fun part of my career. I grew up in Hudson Valley, New York State, and used to say the other side of the tracks, but now it's the other side of opportunity. Family who were very hardworking, middle-class people, working-class people who really didn't have an opportunity to really introduce me to the arts for financial and other reasons. So there was this teacher who was in elementary school and then middle school, who somehow adopted a small group of us, and she would take us to everything. I saw my first rock concert, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, followed by The Fifth Dimension. And then she would take us to the symphony, and she would pick me up first to bring a blazer from her dad, because I didn't own one, and she didn't want the other kids to know that I didn't have a blazer. So she did things like that, and she was so instrumental in who I am today as a person. And the fun part of this story is she is still with us, and she lives in Novato. And I was able to have lunch with her after I got this job, and really had an opportunity to really talk to her about what she did, why she did it, and what she's doing now. And it felt really, really good. So arts access, arts education, I'm a product of it. I would not be sitting here with the career that I've had without it. And so when the young audiences came into my world, it's all about access. It's all about reaching children where they live, learn, and play with engaging arts experiences. It really was the perfect feather in a really good cap of a career.
That's fantastic. And the organization has been growing since you've been a part of it. I mean, it's tremendous to see how much you've continued to expand your reach within the Bay Area and at a national level. So speaking of the national level, can you tell us a little bit more for the viewers who may not know, what is Young Audiences? What is its mission? What does it strive to achieve?
Sure. Young Audiences, our Young Audiences affiliate, Young Audience Arts for Learning in Northern California, has been around since 1958. Last year, we celebrated our 60th anniversary. And we're an independent affiliate of about 32 cities throughout the country. And we have the mothership of Young Audience National. And together, we are serve over 5 million children a year with arts education programming. We do it in very different ways, but we do it with a main focus of to create art experiences that inspire children, expand learning, and enliven communities. And some of our affiliates have an actual school. Others use the kind of programming we do. We are the largest arts ed provider in the 9 Bay Area counties. Last year alone, we serviced over 125 different assembly programs. We have 53 artists. We worked with 85 partner schools, and over 35,000 children experienced the programming from high school to preschool in the entire 9 Bay Area counties. So together we learn as a national on standards of education and best practices, and share a pedagogy that has been proven over 60-some years. And so that's what we do. And actually during this time, the network has been an amazing support.
How many artists do you have on your teaching roster?
Oh, sure. We currently have 53 teaching artists and arts partners. The programs we present are in 4 categories. We do assemblies, we do workshops, which are 6 visits or less to a school. We do long-term residencies where we embed teaching artists into schools for anywhere from 10 weeks to the full school year. And we also do professional development for classroom teachers on how they can integrate arts into their daily work. Our main focus is to have a student experience the art, understand the art, create the art, and connect with the art. So we really want that engagement. It's art-focused, it's child-centered, it's outcome-driven, and it's measurably effective. So it really goes deeper into an experience than let's just put on a show, Judy.
I mean, but putting on a show for Judy is also pretty
Oh,
good.
absolutely.
So one of the artists on your roster is the chorus.
Absolutely.
And so we launched our rhythm program in 2018 in February with you. From the get-go, we've been partnered with you. And you've helped us connect with Bay Area schools that we would have never been connected with otherwise. So we can definitely talk about the ways that our specific program in the chorus as a teaching roster is looking at and handling this shift to virtual learning and what the future might look like in the fall. But can you share other ways that artists on your roster have been adjusting to the shift on virtual learning and what it's looked like for them and what it means for the future of arts education?
Great question. And we've been taking an interesting approach as young audiences. So first, for our teaching artists, Sam said this in the interview the other day with you, that it happened so quickly that none of us were prepared. So after we could get through that initial panic, the initial fear, the initial unknown, we really needed to take a step backward and see how we could quickly support the unexpected financial pause. So we did initiate an artist emergency fund, and as you know from SFGMC, we were able to pay through commitments through the end of March, almost like getting a 2-week notice for any gig. Right. And we're working in a variety of levels with our teaching artists and our different partners. So what I'm seeing is that we are in a experimental stage. A lot of artists are doing a lot of variety of approaches. What we're trying, so everything from free classes, our website hosts at-home activities that we've given out for free. You as artists have given out for free. It ranges from some lessons from SFGMC to take home crafts to exercise and hip hop singing. So it's there on our website. But we also, and it forms an opportunity to showcase the diversity of the work that we do. So when we turn things back on into some way, we have some familiarity. Young audiences have some stronger familiarity with the work we're doing, and we can present it to you all. What we're trying to do is talk with the end user. We're talking to a lot of principals, superintendents of schools, Board of Education, educators, and we put together 2 blue ribbon panels that will reconvene midsummer to really hear how they're going to use us, why they want to use us, what will work, what won't work. So we can be a leader back to you all within our 53 art partners on what is strategic, what is the right focus. I don't want people to spend energy, money, and angst in things that aren't going to be used. And so we're finding that the approach we're going to take, and what I'm learning is we're calling it a revision for 2020. And it's going to be a hybrid of services, pre-recorded and live streaming, detailed arts curriculum, which is going to be very important. And this is very important because as budgets get cut, and I talked to a art person who sits on an art board, educational board here in the Concord area, budgets are going to be cut and every penny is going to be under scrutiny. So we're going to be working with all of our artists on how it connects directly with California standard curriculum. So if you see a need to bring in an artist in 3rd grade, we need to provide the ammunition, if you will, to the teacher in the school that this isn't just fluff arts for art's sake. This connects curriculum grade level 3.5 in social emotional learning, in math skills, in many different ways. So we're working very diligently to understand the services you all as our partners will be delivering and how it connects so we can do service to the end user in an intelligent, proactive leadership way. So that's important. Things we do know. We know that there's not going to be an assembly for a very long time. Things we do know is that they could be recorded, and if it's normally a 45-minute assembly, break it down to 10 to 15-minute chunks. Bring curriculum material that addresses that specific part. If you're a ballet folklorical company and you just did a dance from Oaxaca, show that and give some materials that go with that dance form in that region, or the costumes, so that a teacher, if they use it remotely, can play it all at once if they want to, or divvy it out to their students over a period of time. So these are the kind of leadership techniques we're putting together so we can share with you all and get you work as soon as we can get everybody work and get money back into the artists and arts partners budgets.
Right. So it sounds like there's been a lot of planning that's been happening in preparation for what's happening in the future. Has there already been any, because there have been residencies, since we moved to virtual learning? I know there was that quick shift that Sam Bass talked about as well in his conversation, but have there been any student projects that have come out of this already that are really notable and something exciting?
Yes, because what we learned also is that not every school and school district had the same challenges and the same needs. So we are literally curating experiences based on each of our school districts. So we do a lot of work in the after school work with Bay Area Community Resource Center, BACR. And they continued even after the shutdown to provide services for the after school students. So we had 7 provide online classes and teaching that was delivered to them. And our concern was, once it goes down to the world, how do you get it back? How do you charge for it? How do we bring money back into you? So they were very clever with putting it on an internal website that the site visitors from the different Oakland schools could log on and get specifically your content, because I know SFGMC is part of this project and a few others. And so that's been really strategically placed, and it's being used very well. And BACR and the school district in Oakland, we're very happy with how that is going. Overall, our work is maintained behind the scenes right now. We did not stop this is exciting, but in a different way, because it excites me a lot. We were in the middle of professional development for our classroom teachers at Wren Elementary School in Concord. They're converted into an arts magnet school. And we did not stop the training. And they've actually been using all of their training in their remote classrooms. We shifted some of the training to how do you create art through Zoom? How do you do theater games through Zoom? And the teachers, when we check in with them the following week, are showing us examples of how they've done it and how even the social emotional wellness portion has made a difference. So in an interesting way, our artists are being connected as they can be, but we're priming the pump to continue the tools to be in place down the road. And, it might not be COVID-19. It could be an earthquake. It could be a fire. It could be a teacher strike. So any of this work that we're doing is really setting the stage for hopefully not as much panic in the future.
I couldn't agree more. I think, and that's it's COVID-19 related, but also, as you said, it's preparing for the future in any other scenario that could possibly happen. Are there any positives that have surprised you that have come out of this?
The overall attention to what arts is going to mean in the future has been an overall positive. And I've seen encouraging eyes from my teaching artists more as we're moving forward than the panic and fear they had 11 weeks ago.
I think we've been forced to have that mind shift where initially people are like, well, let's just hold out and we'll see how long this goes. And then once it passes, we can keep moving on. And we're realizing, no, we need to make a shift, which will benefit us in the future too, because it is allowing us to have more channels of ways that we can connect with students. And in some ways, maybe even increase the number of students that we are connecting with.
Yeah, I agree with that, because we've been talking about that before this happened. We were approached by a far North Bay area to how can we help, or how can we bring art up there? Can we train teachers that are up in that area? And as you know, just the work that we've done with rhythm and SFGMC, Antioch's a far place to go for most of the singers within SFGMC, and you and I have had many conversations about how to make that work.
Mm-hmm.
But this new way of doing it, where you can go to there and have a relationship built with the kids, and then use some remote way to continue the relationship and then somehow end it together again, opens up the geography of the impact that we want to have. Because as you know, with rhythm, when we started it, yes, we're devoted to San Francisco, Oakland, and Berkeley, but we felt, as you did, going to Vallejo, going to El Cerrito, going further out, really brought a message as well that was equally as important. And I think this can only expand that.
Yeah, it's exciting to look at that possibility. And I mean, we've even had discussions of broadening it beyond the Bay Area. If that's, I mean, we are limited by some resources and bandwidth of staffing, but with that capability of being able to share at least certain components of it with the world, not just nationally. So that is an exciting possibility for the future.
We have to remember somehow to keep the human connection part of it, because I had a talk with a teaching artist yesterday who was delivering new content to a school he's never had a relationship with. And he says it's been a little interesting versus a model where there is some live FaceTime to establish some type of a relationship, to expand it, because I do think there's value to both. But I do feel that if there is the important part about performing arts is it's live, it's in person, you experience it. And that element, I believe, still needs to be part of it when we can do that part.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get you on. We'll do the road show first, get the Mitch road show going, and then we follow it up.
I'm fine with that. That sounds great.
Yes.
So the school year is quickly approaching the end, and a lot of schools are still doing virtual learning for summer schooling. But in terms of arts, and there are often arts camps during the summer, but are there resources for students who are just still eager during the summer and going into even next school year that you'd recommend looking into for them if they want to create art and ways that they can be aided in creating their art?
For the community, for the artist community, Create California is a statewide agency that has a lot of resources and links to a lot of resources. So for artists who are looking for more opportunities or more support, Create California is the go-to place. I'm seeing that Park and Recs are starting to have more arts links through the work that they're doing. Again, we have a very small one, but we continually update other resources within our young audiences website, which is ya-nc.org. And I would say Theater Bay Area, variety of places like that are going on. Because we're getting in the Boys and Girls Club is talking to us now about how to continue doing some work over the summer. Our main focus was a very immersive 6-week, 5 days a week project with South San Francisco Unified School District Summer School, and that just was totally stopped because, again, the uncertainty of how they were bringing children into the school. So they've postponed that work to actually in the school year, which we're excited about. So I think it's out there, and I think Sam said go to any museum, but I would say go to Park and Rec, go to libraries. Libraries are full right now of online programming. We're getting a lot of phone calls from libraries asking for content.
Mm-hmm. As we start to wrap up, is there anything else that we may not have covered that you would like to share with our viewers?
I just think as we navigate forward, I think it's the responsibility of all of us as community members to really advocate strongly that arts are essential in any of the budget cuts that are coming on with any of the school districts or any of the planning. You're seeing a lot of articles now on should college football proceed, should the sports proceed, how are the sports going, sports. We have to have that same conversation with the arts, and we have to know that arts are essential. Sam the other day talked about it being core. It is. So we just all need to be aware of how the funding will go forward in school districts and how we can continue to voice with examples on how the arts are essential, not in just the social emotional, which is now the new buzzword within schools, when it was all about STEM and STEAM and arts integration. And now it's really more, these kids are going to need to express and need to really have relationship skills reinforced, responsibility of decision making, all of those type of things that social emotional learning brings into it. So I would say that we need to uniformly join earlier this week, 52 national organizations everywhere from American Choral Directors Association to Young Audiences National Education Association put out a statement on arts education is essential. So I'm sure it will be out and about in Americans for the Arts, Course America. They will all have it on their website. So if you are involved in any national, I think we just need to advocate for that piece while we also advocate that artists are essential, because I think it's both. I mean, we're hearing a lot about the theaters closing. We're hearing a lot about that piece of it. We don't know when the chorus is going to get together as a chorus again, but in the meantime, down the road in the long tail, it's about funding, comfortability. And so from my point of view, to get you more work is we need to advocate for the schools to have the budgets.
Right. And I think the idea of what you're doing right now as an organization with the preparation and looking ahead into the future and how can we continue to prepare is so important, especially as we go into the summer months where schools are vamping up for a new school year. We want to look at what are all the different scenarios and how are we best equipped to approach all of those scenarios, because we need to be prepared. And this time we're benefited with time, which we didn't have when this first happened. So
it must be strategic, it must be purposeful, and it must have the arsenal as tools for our advocates to move it forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
I don't know where that came from. No. No.
Well, thank you again so much for joining us today. It was such a pleasure. We really look forward to our future collaborations and partnership with your organization and seeing how you can benefit not just us, but all of the teaching artists in the Bay Area to continue to integrate arts into schools, and now nationally as well, as we talk about, and globally as we talk about this movement into online learning. So thank you again. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
If you haven't already, please like and subscribe the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus official YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date with all of our new content as well as exciting projects that we have on the horizon. Thank you again, John, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.